29 January marked a moment of extraordinary intensity in Britain's ongoing conversation with its monarchy. As reports circulated that Parliament had convened to debate the revocation of royal titles and the symbolic return of certain figures to ordinary citizen status. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle first stepped away from their royal duties, the world interpreted the move as a deeply personal choice. An assertion of independence from an institution defined by duty, restraint, and inherited obligation. Yet over the years that followed, the couple's repeated and sometimes ambiguous use of royal styling, diplomatic courtesies, and commercial leverage steadily blurred the boundary between private life and crown representation. What had once been framed as a clean break evolved into a prolonged grey zone. Exit agreements designed to separate them from official royal duty sat uneasily alongside HRH titles, reappearing in private invitations, correspondence, overseas engagements, and even branding exercises. Their actions did more than disappoint traditionalists. They reshaped a constitutional and cultural debate about what it truly means to be royal in the 21st century, where influence travels faster than law and symbolism can outweigh statute. This latest development unfolded amid sustained public scrutiny and renewed controversy surrounding the couple's commercial activities and their continued association with royal styling long after. Stepping back from official roles. Despite dramatic claims circulating online, no formal act of Parliament has yet stripped Harry or Meghan of their titles. Government sources, however, have acknowledged that legislation such as a proposed removal of titles bill has returned to serious discussion, potentially empowering either the monarch or a parliamentary committee to revoke titles from non-working royals. Viral reports of decisive votes have not been corroborated by official records, and legal experts continue to emphasize that many of the most sensational claims have been debunked by fact-checking organizations. As of early 2026, Harry and Meghan technically retain the Dukedom of Sussex and associated peerages granted by Queen Elizabeth II in 2018, and by birthright Harry remains a prince. Under the January 2020 agreement with Buckingham Palace, the couple committed to refraining from the use of His or Her Royal Highness in official or commercial contexts, while retaining the styles in name only. Yet by 2025, reports suggested that informal acceptance or use of HRH styling in private contexts had resumed, reigniting debate over whether the spirit of that agreement was being honored. Tensions escalated when Meghan used HRH in private written correspondence, prompting a fresh wave of public criticism. Palace insiders observed that while such usage may not have constituted a technical breach, it clearly undermined the trust on which the original arrangement depended. Behind the scenes, Prince William was increasingly portrayed as determined to modernize the monarchy's approach to titles and symbolism. Analysts writing in late 2025 suggested that once king, William intended to remove princely and HRH styles from all non-working royals, potentially including Harry, Meghan, and their children, through letters patent early in his reign. The precedent had already been set in the widely reported case of Prince Andrew, whose dukedom and honorary titles were removed in 2025 through royal prerogative and letters patent under King Charles III, without the need for parliamentary legislation. Public debate proved relentless. Polling indicated growing support for stricter rules governing royal titles, particularly when former royals engage in commercial ventures that appear to trade on their former status. Commentators frequently cited Meghan's continued use of HRH styling as evidence that the boundaries drawn by the so-called Megxit agreement had been eroded. Proposed legislation introduced in late 2025 aimed to formalize powers that had historically rested almost entirely with the sovereign granting Parliament, in consultation with the Crown, clearer authority to revoke honours from those no longer serving in official capacities. By the end of January 2026, observers across the political and cultural spectrum were watching closely. Reform advocates argued that a modern monarchy must tether titles to service rather than celebrity, while opponents warned that formal removals could appear vindictive or politically destabilizing, noting that titles by birth have historically required either legislation or the sovereign's consent to alter. When Harry and Meghan announced their departure from royal duties in January 2020, few foresaw the years of institutional, political, and emotional fallout that would follow. The agreement, brokered personally by Queen Elizabeth II, was intended as a delicate compromise, granting independence while protecting the dignity of the crown. Its terms were explicit: no public funding, no official duties, and no use of HRH in any official capacity, while retaining their peerages and subsidiary titles. Yet enforcement relied less on law than on trust, and over time that trust frayed. By 2023, the Archewell Foundation had grown into a prominent media and charitable enterprise, drawing attention for branding that many felt blurred the line between private citizens and royal representatives. Confusion persisted among the public and international partners alike. The situation reached a tipping point in 2025 when correspondence connected to overseas engagements revealed HRH styling, and when foreign authorities appeared to grant diplomatic courtesies based on assumptions that Meghan remained a working royal. While not unlawful, the optics deeply unsettled the palace. Senior aides framed the issue not as protocol but as principle: the integrity of public service versus personal gain. Internal tensions intensified, with Prince William reportedly pressing for an audit of Sussex-linked activities to identify instances where royal affiliation may have been leveraged, intentionally or otherwise. Reviews reportedly examined invitations citing royal titles, travel documentation that triggered diplomatic privileges, and charitable filings that listed the founders by their ducal styles. None of this was deemed illegal, but collectively it reinforced the perception that royal capital was being used to bolster credibility and access. By late 2025, calls for clarity grew louder. Princess Anne, long respected for her discipline and intolerance for ambiguity, was said to have insisted that the monarchy draw a firm line. Public opinion followed. Polling in January 2026 suggested that a clear majority supported stripping titles if the couple continued to operate entirely outside royal control. Then, on 23 January 2026, Buckingham Palace released a statement unlike any in recent memory, jointly signed by Princess Anne and Prince William. Measured yet unmistakably firm, it addressed a sustained pattern of misrepresentation in the use of royal association, explicitly distancing the monarchy from Archewell, barring the Sussexes from representing Commonwealth-linked initiatives, and formally requesting that King Charles III initiate a review of titles under letters patent. It also announced the consolidation of official royal charitable work under new Crown Service Foundation, chaired by Princess Catherine and Princess Anne, and recommended regulatory scrutiny of disclosures and branding practices linked to Sussex ventures. The reaction was swift. Historians described the statement as a necessary clarification rather than a personal attack. Public sentiment largely favored the palace, with petitions and commentary emphasizing the need to protect the crown from confusion and misuse. For days, Harry and Meghan remained silent, making only quiet edits to digital biographies. Behind the scenes, commercial partners reassessed their associations, content was delayed, and legal experts predicted heightened scrutiny of charitable filings. King Charles himself remained publicly silent, though insiders confirmed the statement carried his full blessing. Private meetings at Clarence House focused not on family reconciliation, but on long-term institutional clarity in an era of personal branding and digital influence. The outcome was the formal launch of the Crown Service Foundation on 29 January 2026, a unified, tightly governed framework for royal service emphasizing transparency, audited governance, and a strict ban on the use of personal titles in external branding. Its reception was overwhelmingly positive, reinforcing trust rather than spectacle. As the foundation gained momentum, Archewell's influence waned, with sponsors withdrawing and partnerships reassessed. Requests for private audiences went unanswered, pitches were rejected, and industry voices spoke openly of brand fatigue. In the end, the saga underscored a single, unresolved truth. In a modern monarchy, symbolism remains power, and when that power is perceived to be used without accountability, the institution will eventually move to reclaim it.